They say if you take away, or if you give a man money and a full belly, you'll take away his ambition. Fuck, man, that's true, isn't it? How many of you guys feel like doing absolute nothing when you're full and you got a nice fat bank account? Ambition is something that people will pull out of themselves during hard times, but it's very difficult for a lot of people to stay ambitious and stay climbing. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm going to teach you guys the number one standard that you can create in 2025 that'll help you stay hungry, it'll help you stay ambitious, and it'll help you guarantee that you hit all of your fitness goals. That's the main thing here. A lot of people are going to wait till the new year to start on their fitness goals. Guys, whenever you see this message, if you have a fitness goal and this message resonates, start when you watch this video. It doesn't matter what day it is. You should never wait till a certain day to get started. I think that's just crazy. So if you're new to the channel, I'm Jeremiah Sullivan. I was a small town kid. I grew up in a town of about 300 people, population of 300. I was a quitter in life, and I turned that all around. I became a winner. I became an infantry officer. I served in the 75th Ranger Regiment. I became a Strike Force 1 Ranger platoon leader. I did some high-value target raids and some airfield seizures, a lot of training missions. I jumped out of planes. I jumped out of helicopters, night ops. And then I went on to become an infantry commander. I got 4 deployments, man. 3 to Afghanistan, 1 to Iraq. And now today what I do is I help. I really, somebody was asking me this earlier. They said, what do you do? I was like, man, I do a lot of things, but I'm the guy that business owners, well, really people call when their life or their business is in complete chaos and shit. I was like, I'm like the break glass in case of emergency guy. That's what people call me for. When your life comes crumbling down, your business is crumbling down on top of you, people call me to get out of that shit. I help them with leadership and mindset to pull themselves through, build the business that they want, the life that they want. All right, now one of the things that I focus a lot on is fitness, guys. Let me show where I'm at. Okay, so I got a 6-pack, right? Top 2 abs are popping, bottom 1, the top 4 are strong, bottom 2, they're there. And so I have stayed pretty lean all of 2025, so I'm gonna speak on a subject that I have experience in. Because I don't believe in fucking theory. I believe in sharing actual experience. A lot of people online, these people, they read a book and then they just come regurgitate the book. So if you're struggling with your weight and you're successful, right? It's like, how do you create that ambition, that hunger to stay lean when you got a fat bank account and life's pretty good? How do you create that hunger so that, and sometimes people they settle and they're complacent in the state of struggle. A lot of people are so used to just struggling for so long that the struggle becomes normal to them and they just choose to stay there, and they just, they don't like being fat, they don't like being broke, but they stay there because they're so used to being at that level, okay? So this video is gonna help you guys too that are in that level of not being happy with where you're at, being in a state of struggle. And again, what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to share with you the number one standard that you can create to make sure that you stay ambitious, man. Okay, one of the things, if you look at your body, right, I truly believe you look how you live. The way that you look tells a person what you prioritize, what you think is important, and where you cut corners and where you don't. Most fit people end up figuring out the money side of things. They figure out the finances, and it's because they start applying the daily disciplines that they applied to fitness to money. Now, if you're fit and you're broke, nobody respects you, and you got to really work on that because you just haven't applied the principles. Your ego's kind of getting ahead of you, but that's a whole different story. Bringing this back. So how do you stay lean all year, right? How do you stay dialed the fuck in? And how do you keep yourself pushing and ambitious and not fall into complacency, not fall into the comfort zone? The comfort zone is the danger zone. Well, a lot of people are going to chase goals this year in 2025, this is the upcoming year. And they're going to set goals. Hey, I want to have a 6-pack, or I want to I really want to push my business to the next level, or I want to make more money. But if you're comfortable with where you're at, it's going to be very, very hard to do. So how do you fucking change where you're at so that you change what you get? How do you force the change in your life to cause the level up? What is your guys' thoughts? Actually, put it down in the chat below. As I'm talking, put in the chat below, what does a person do to force themselves to level up in your opinion? Let's see if we can get some, this to be a community question where everybody's answering down below. Because there's going to be a lot of different answers. And I'm going to share my answer with you guys. How do you force the level up in a person's life? How do you make somebody go from where they're at to where they want to be with one simple tweak, one simple modification? Is it a mindset shift? What is it? Because the outcome that a person's seeking is exactly that. It's an outcome. But what creates the outcome? The action, right? The action creates the outcome. But what creates the action? So in your life, in fitness, right? Like, what creates you to go to the gym? What creates you to eat right? What creates you to actually follow through on your diet, your training, and all of it? Well, it's your standards. Okay? Now, if you want to know what your standards are, all you got to do is watch your behavior, because you behave in a manner that's congruent with your standards. So how many times do you guys jump on a scale? How many times do you guys go to the gym a week? How many times throughout the year do you take a day off? Because what you do is your standard. That's what you settle for. All right, so one of the things that everybody can do to get better results in their life with their fitness, to stay out of complacency, is set firmer standards and clearer standards. You ever heard that saying, what gets measured gets managed? Well, you gotta, like, when it comes to improving your standards, you wanna measure them. You wanna measure your results across time. That's a standard, right? Like, if I want my money to go up, I gotta measure my money. If I want my body fat to go down, I gotta measure my body fat. So the simplest, easiest standard that all of you guys can do moving into 2025 to help with your fitness and your mindset, it's a one simple standard. And that's to set the amount that you're going to eat every day. Set an amount of calories, macros that you're going to follow for the days that you're living. Now, these can adjust across time. I'm not saying you have to set one set of macros for the whole year, but I'm saying if you focus on this one simple, basic task of just getting clear about what your macros are going to be and align them with the goals that you have, whether you want to gain weight, lose weight, whatever, and every single day stay within those parameters, you're guaranteed to get to the weight and the physique that you're looking for. You ever heard the saying? There's a saying, you can't out-train a bad diet, right? But you can out-diet bad training. In other words, you can eat really, really good and get better results, like get phenomenal results, even though you're not training hard. It's very true. So, macros, right? Macronutrients. If you guys are unfamiliar with macros, there's a lot of online calculators that you can use to calculate your macros. Macros are your macronutrients, which consist of your fats, your proteins, and your carbohydrates. And as a rule of thumb, there's controversy around this, but as a general rule of thumb, a good ratio for your macros is 40%, 40%, 20%. So to eat balanced in general, okay, you want 40% of your calories to come from carbohydrates, 40% of your calories to come from protein, and 20% to come from fats. And what this does, it's a healthy ratio that allows you to like burn fat and gain muscle at the same time. If you don't have enough carbs, then your body's going to turn to your muscles for energy. If you've got too much of any of those things, you're just going to gain fat. Like if you have too much carbs, too much fats, you're just going to be fat. Like you're not going to actually shred. So you want to have your macros dialed in, 40, 40, 20, and then you also want to be in a calorie deficit every day and every week, okay? So generally, a rule of thumb is 300 to 500 calories a day in a deficit. And the reason why you say 3 to 500, the reason why people say 3 to 500 is because it's the right amount to cause a calorie deficit, and it's not so much to basically cause you all types of issues throughout the day where you're gonna get so dizzy and so hungry and have so many cravings. And then the last piece here is just like break up your meals into 3 to 5 meals a day or 6 meals a day. So smaller portions spread out. But bringing this all together is like, that's a really fast class on macros. You guys can do some research on macros, but it's simple. Go to like bodybuilding.com, go type in your height, your weight, tell it what your goals are, get a ratio of macros that are 40, 40, 20. Make sure you're in a calorie deficit, but the main standard that you have to set is every single day you have to understand how many calories, how many macros you're going to get, and strive to stick to that. I was just at a content strategy, a marketing strategy with a guy, and it was like 2 o'clock, and I had ate lunch already, and he was like, hey man, do you want to go eat? And it's actually, I was pretty hungry. I'd ate like 2 hours or 3 hours before he asked that question. He's like, do you want to go grab a bite, like a snack or something, while we're talking about all this? And I said, I mean, I would love to, but if I eat now, I can't eat later. And he just looked at me. He was like, what? I was like, yeah, if I eat now, that means I can't eat later. He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm going to eat a certain amount of food today. And if I go eat with you now, that means dinner tonight, I won't be eating. So I would love to, but I'm not going to be able to eat later. And he thought that was the funniest shit. But I was dead serious. But this is because I'm living by a standard. I'm measuring my macros. I'm staying dialed in. So if you want to stay, I know I said earlier, if you want to stay hungry throughout the year, but I really meant that more in terms of ambition. But when you stay lean and you stay in control, you keep that ambition, that fire burning. Like when you are well fed, when you do have the fat bank account, it is harder to get going. So you want to restrict yourself if you want to create ambition in your life. You want to restrict your food. You want to restrict overspending. You want to really restrict yourself so you can feel that aggression. You can feel that hunger. I call it like, it's like the hunter's mindset or the killer's mindset, like you keep yourself, like the warrior mindset is to keep yourself deprived enough so you stay in that fucking locked in zone. When you eat too much during Thanksgiving or Christmas and you're like all foggy and you're lazy, you can't hunt and kill shit like that. I like to stay in that fucking killer zone. So bring my macros down, get them nice and dialed in. That's the simplest, easiest standard that you guys can do in 2025. And if you follow it all year, not only will you fucking be locked in and have ambition, but you'll get the damn six pack, man. I'm telling you, at least this works for me. I'm trying to share with you guys the strategies and tactics that'll help you guys improve your lives, become more resilient, more disciplined, more focused, and help you guys win in all areas of life. So that's today's video, a little bit longer of one it looks like. But if you guys like this video, drop your takeaway down below, and I look forward to chatting with you guys there. Let's fucking win in 2025, man. Let's stay hungry, figuratively, not really, and let's freaking get in that fucking killer mindset mode, man, that locked in warrior mindset. All right, let's get it, guys. Conquer all.